A very good evening to all, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I, Dr. Ashman, take this opportunity to welcome you all on behalf of Geeta Ratan International Business School on this virtual platform for interaction with Honorable Justice Sri G.S. Singhvi on are fair trials feasible in today's world of social media? Its influence on judiciary. Geeta Ratan International Business School was established in year 2004. GIBS is affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, Delhi. Center for Legal Studies, GIBS conducts law courses for BBA LLB and BA LLB approved by Bar Council of India and management courses by All India Council for Technical Education, Ministry of HRD and Government of India. The institute is accredited as Category A by National Assessment and Accreditation Council and assessed as Category A plus by State Fee Regulatory Committee and rated highest grading A by Joint Inspection Committee of Government of NCT of Delhi and Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University. The institute has been rated Grade A by Academic Audit Cell of Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University consecutively from past 7 years. GIBS has also been rated number 2 by Times B School Survey consecutively twice in the years 2018 and 2019. The COVID-19 pandemic is creating significant health, social, economic, and legal challenges worldwide, forcing institutes and universities to shut their physical activities. Yet, Center for Legal Studies GIBS understand that navigating the pace of change, dealing with immediate issues can only be developed through taking a regular insight of the problem with the opinion of experts. The World Wide Web connects millions by transcending geographical boundaries, dismissing time zones, and redefining accessibility. However, while the internet, especially social media, has many perks to offer, it also creates complications like never before. As the number of internet users increases with each passing day, a deluge of varied opinions and dialogues flooded every available online platform. Networking sites like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram give a voice to every individual who has access to an internet-enabled computer or a smartphone. Sometimes the ability to make themselves heard brings a positive change in people's lives. Unfortunately, it also gives the masses power to indirectly influence decisions that actually demand neutrality, logic, and extensive research. In its perpetual pursuit to deliver existential learning and offer global exposure to legal fraternity, CLS GIBS is very delighted to organize this webinar on Are Fair Trials Feasible in Today's World of Social Media? Its influence on judiciary. And to discuss on this topic, we have with us Honorable Justice Sri G.S. Singhvi. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's session, Honorable Justice Sri G.S. Singhvi. He has served as a Chief Justice of High Court of Andhra Pradesh and is a former judge of Supreme Court of India. Now, I would request Sir to take the session forward and illuminate all of us with his expertise.
Yes, Professor Ghosh.
Please, your video and audio is on, please. Sir, please switch. Yes, it is right now.
Now I am audible?
Yes, sir.
And where are the students?
All the students are in the attendees role. It is already there. They are already started attending. Already 100 plus it was gone.
Okay.
It is they are already hearing you.
Thank you. Dear students, I am delighted to be with you for speaking on a subject, a scope of which unfortunately has been narrowed down to social media. The real problem of our country is not the social media's influence on the criminal justice system, but the real problem is almost collapse of the criminal justice system. For understanding the subject, I would like to make one thing clear to all, which I have been doing for last 47 years. I did my law in 1971 and now it is 2020. We unfortunately are over-influenced by the practices, by the system of administration of justice in other countries, forgetting that India is a unique country which has perhaps no parallel in the world. All of you perhaps may be aware that we are having more than 100 languages, more than 100 cultures. Until 1947, India was, or Bharat or Hindustan was not what it is today. You must first understand how the court system was introduced in India. India means Bharat. We became independent on 15th of August 1947. But most of the students are not told that the process of framing the constitution was started in 1946 with the Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946. We had 389 members in the Constituent Assembly. After partition in 1947, the number of members was 299. The constitution was ultimately, the draft constitution was framed by a 7-member committee headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It was circulated for public comments in 2008 and ultimately adopted on 26th of November 1946. Most of the students are not told that parts of the constitution relating to citizenship, election, parliament, etc. were brought into force on 26th of November 1946. And we declared ourselves to be a democracy on 26th of January 1950, which we celebrate as the Constitution Day. I am sorry to observe that most of our teachers teach the students of law about Part 3 of the Constitution, which is titled as Fundamental Rights. But seldom enough emphasis is placed on Part 4 of the Constitution, which is titled as Directive Principles of State Policy. In the preamble also, all of us read, "We the people of India solemnly resolve to constitute India into, at that time in 1947, sovereign democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice." Justice is accompanied by 3 words: social, economic, and political. Then we talk of freedom. Then we talk of equality. And finally of fraternity and dignity of individuals. We introduced the word secular and socialist in 1977 and also added Part 4A, which is fundamental duties of the citizens. Although As a student of law, I would say that introduction of part 4 was not at all necessary, because in the preamble itself, in the second part, we had taken a pledge. All those who read the Constitution take a pledge to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political. Now you will wonder why I am emphasizing on the term justice, social, economic, and political. The reason is the chairman of the drafting committee, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, himself said about part 4 of the Constitution. In his speech, Dr. Ambedkar said, I will just read 2 lines from what he said. Surely it is not the intention to introduce in this part these principles as mere pious declarations. It is the intention of the Assembly that in future both the legislative and executive should not merely play lip service to these principles, but that they should be made the basis of all legislative and executive action that may be taken hereinafter in the matter of governance of the country. It is our misfortune that after independence, we continue to have the same civil service which served Britishers, except that the name of ICS was changed to IAS and another was made as Indian Police Service. It is also our misfortune that our leadership of the day, I am saying of the top leadership, had no nexus with the people of India, because at that time the 80% of Indian population used to live in the villages. They were all educated in foreign countries. They were well served by the civil servants who derived their strength from foreign countries. And therefore, students, you must note that there were 3 big failures in 1950 and onwards. One was in the field of universal health. Second was compulsory education. And third was language. The language which I am talking today is not the language of the people of Bharat. In fact, today I have no hesitation to say that our country has 2 names. One is called Bharat, where the people do not know English, they know their local language, or at the best Hindi. And the second is called India, which consists of 20% population of the country, and which people were like me and like you know English. The misfortune of the country was that we never thought of creating a system of universal health, which was the primary obligation of the state. Equally, was the primary obligation of the state to educate the people. What was done in 2010 by Parliament by amending the Constitution and making education compulsory up to class 10 should have been done in 1950. If that had been done, you would not have seen, you would not have witnessed what you have done in last 2 months. You must ponder over why people from UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, Odisha, West Bengal, Assam would migrate to Mumbai, Delhi, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala, and why during this unfortunate coronavirus, 50 lakh people had to travel on foot at least for 1 month without any assurance of food and water. The failure of the then government of 1950, 1960 and 1970 to make the education compulsory and health compulsory is the resultant position of the today's situation. Now you will be wondering why I am talking about the Constitution when we are discussing the impact of the social media on the criminal justice system. For understanding the criminal justice system, you must know at least few figures. As on date, we have got 3.47 crore cases pending in the country. Out of these, more than 59,000 cases are pending in the Supreme Court. These are criminal cases. I am not talking of all cases. In high courts, there are 44,75,000 cases. And in trial courts, there are 3,14 lakh cases. Unfortunately, out of these, 4,000 criminal cases are pending against your elected representatives, members of parliament, as well as legislative assembly. And unfortunately, 43% of the present parliament members are facing criminal cases. Now, what would wonder you that in 2018, the Supreme Court directed that special courts be set up to deal with the cases of the legislatures. Only governments of 12 states created 12 special courts. And what is most astonishing is that the central government released 37.50 lakh rupees for each state for creation of the special court. It's only a matter of imagination how with 35 lakh rupees a special court can function. You would also wonder to know that as against 10 lakh people, there are 17 judicial officers. We have at least 20 reports, including the one submitted by Justice Malimat in 2003 for creation of more posts, for creation of infrastructure, but nobody bothers about that. As early as in 2011, from 2011 till today, the government of India has sanctioned 7,000 crore rupees, 7,453 crore rupees were sanctioned, but only 54% of them were released for the purpose of creation of infrastructure of the courts. I would give you two examples with which I am concerned. I had to deal with them regarding creation of courts. In 2011, sitting in a division bench of the Supreme Court, I came across an appeal filed by the state of Gujarat against an order of the Gujarat High Court, whereby direction was given for registration of a case by Central Bureau of Investigation involving a scandal of 1,000 crores. You will be surprised to know that registration of FIRs and filing of charge sheets in that scandal with the intervention of the High Court took 9 years. The matter traveled thrice before the Supreme Court, and finally, in the fourth round, the Supreme Court granted a stay in 2001. After 2002, the matter was for the first time listed in the Supreme Court in 2011. That is after a gap of 9 years, and took interestingly, as early as on 11th of July 2009, the then Prime Minister of the country, Dr. Manmohan Singh, had, on the basis of a letter written by the Chief Justice of India, directed the Chief Ministers of all the states to create 71 special courts to deal with the CBI cases, And it's only a matter of shock that till 2011, only 9 courts had been created by various states. It was compulsion of the Supreme Court which forced them to create 65 courts. During the course of hearing of the matter, the investigating officer was sought to be transferred, but the High Court stayed it. And when we summoned him, he said, sir, it has taken already 9 years to file the charge sheet. So the next query was, how many witnesses? He said, sir, 111. So the next question was, how many years the trial is likely to take? He said that with the burden of the cases which are pending before the special judge, it will take another 10 years. It's only a matter of sheer imagination that what would be the fate of a case involving 1,000 crore rupees scandal. Now, dear friends, you must also know that we have 3 types of criminals. Sorry. We have 3 types of persons committing crime belong to 3 categories. 80% of them are poor. 15% of them are semi-educated. 5% of them are rich. And they do not have any respect for law. You must have recently heard about release of an offender. I do not want to name, everybody knows that name. He had killed a lady in the bath because she refused to serve liquor. Now that man was released by the Lieutenant Governor of the state because of his good behavior. And you will be surprised to know that in Andhra Pradesh, 897 people who had been granted bail by the courts with surety of just 5,000 rupees. Those 5,000 people could not, provide surety of 5,000 rupees, and as a result of that, they were not released for a period between 6 months to 2 years. And it was only at the intervention of the High Court that 897 people were released. Now you would like to understand why the criminal justice is crumbling. There are 3 components in the criminal justice system. First is police. Second is executive and political administration. And third is judiciary. All 3 segments of this criminal justice system have already collapsed. As students of law or as ordinary citizens, you do not know how the recruitment in the police is done. While dealing with a case in Haryana in 1995 relating to recruitment of 1,504 constables, we asked for it because there was allegation that in each case a bribe of 75,000 rupees has been taken by the superintendents of police. We called for an investigation. Affidavits of 11 superintendents of police in which they admitted that yes, bribe was taken to be paid to the MLAs of the Legislative Assembly. All the recruitments were quashed, and you can imagine what type of police force we will have and why FIRs are not registered in thousands of cases for months together. You will also be surprised to know that 50% of the total police force is now engaged in providing security. Security to all Tom, Dick and Harry. One illustration I want to bring to your notice. It so happened in Chandigarh, in Amritsar, there was a cinema hall, one of the most beautiful cinema hall, exhibiting film Fire by Deepa Sahi, one leader of Shiv Sena, who had been provided Z security at the instance of the central government, with his goons, smashed that cinema hall. The SP of Amritsar, who was already fed up with his antiques, gave a report that his jet security should be withdrawn. IG security, Punjab agreed, and the security was withdrawn. What is most shocking for you, that after 3 days, the then Home Minister of India, Shri L.K. Advani, wrote to Shri Prakash Singh Badal, Chief Minister of the state, that the jet security of the gentlemen belonging to Shiv Sena should be restored, and it was restored. A PIL was filed. When statistics were called, then it was revealed that as many as 363 people in the state of Punjab who had no nexus with the administration had been provided with security. And you will be shocked to know that out of them, 12 were accused of murder, 76 were accused of committing rapes, and likewise. Ultimately, the High Court quashed the security of 90% of them, but this was in 2007. You can imagine the situation in 2020. Your 60% of police force is today busy in providing security to all sorts of people in the country, except maintaining law and order or protecting the citizens. The second component, as I already spoke, is executive and the political administration. My experience shows that in 47 years, I have not found one government willing to create an efficient judicial system. On 10 lakh people, if we have got 70 judicial officers, then you can think, you can just make an imagination that a criminal case instituted in 2020 is not going to finish till 2040. If this is the state of affair, you can just imagine the situation of the criminal justice and the confidence of the people. And here comes the media. Here comes the print media, electronic media, and social media. I must straight away confess that all these three components of media have played important role and are considered to be the fourth pillar of the democracy. They have been responsible for ensuring registration of large number of cases against politicians and so-called powerful people. But the biggest defect in this media is that they temporarily do so. Likewise, social media. For example, you must be remembering there was one case about which now you have forgotten, Upar cinema tragedy, in which 59 people were killed. For 2 months, as a student of law and as a lawyer, I continued to hear the news about Upar tragedy. But thereafter, everybody forgot. The print media forgot, electronic media forgot, social media forgot. The trial took 10 years. And why? One of the important employee was bribed by the Ansal brothers, and that is why the trial was delayed. They were convicted after 10 years, and you will be surprised to know that within 1 week, the High Court of Delhi granted them bail. Ultimately, the Supreme Court cancelled the bail. Again, High Court, after a period of 2 years, reduced the sentence to 1 year, and the Supreme Court acquitted them by directing them to pay compensation of around 50 lakh to 59 people. That is the state of the criminal justice system in our country. You must have seen the media trial of Dr. Talwar and his wife. For 2 years they were hounded, ultimately acquitted. Social media can play an important role in the expeditious disposal of the cases, provided the people, there are two components in it. 90% of the people who report through media are not educated in criminal law. 99% of the people who exchange notes on social media are not aware of the intricacies of the criminal justice system, IPC, CRPC, law of evidence, Special Courts Act, and so many laws. And they may comment without understanding the nitty-gritty of the problem. And that is why the trial many a times get derailed on account of these type of interference. The only way in which the media can play an important role in the criminal justice system is that only informed people come on TV and debate on this. I do not want to comment on the competence of my friend lawyers who come. 90% of them do not know ABCD of the criminal law. They might be constitutional law experts, but they have no idea about the Criminal Procedure Code, the Indian Penal Code. They have no idea about the recruitment of police. They have no idea how the trials are conducted, how executive and political interference takes place in the conduct of trial. I have only to refer to 2 or 3 cases which are pending for last 5 years or 6 years or 7 years in the Indian courts, but because of the influence of money and political interference, those accused are roaming free. One is known who was running Kingfisher Airline. Other is Neerav Modi, and third one another person who is also roaming. They all have ran away from the criminal justice system of India. But the social media has not been able to do anything. The most important point which I wish to make, that social media, when it's tried to take up the case, then they must, knowledgeable person must pursue the matter till the end. If they just give up in the middle, perhaps the impact is zero. That is what I want to convey to the students. I would like to invite the students to raise questions, whatever they have in their mind, but please mind, don't refer to the practices prevailing in United Kingdom, America, Singapore, etc., etc. Thank you very much. Yes, Professor Ghosh.
Ashu ma'am, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your words of wisdom. You have inspired us all today and shown us the mechanism to dispense justice in the world of social media. Sir, our participants have raised some questions during the session, and we would request you to acknowledge them.
Yes, yes, please.
I would request Mr. Anindya Prasad Kanar to set forth the questions.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Dr. Ashudhiman ma'am. A very good evening to Justice Honorable Sir. Sir, my first question is from one of our viewers, and the question might be related to our topic, and some of them are not related to our topic. So I am just asking
No problem.
one after another. Yashwin Singh is asking, are fundamental duties not justiciable?
My answer is very simple. If you read the second part of the preamble, kindly read that part of the preamble if you have got. We had taken a pledge on 26th of January 1950, declaring India into a sovereign democratic republic, and also taken a pledge to secure to all its citizens justice, social and economic, then political. You are just to read 3 days back, Dr. Amartya Sen, the Nobel Prize winner, was given a peace prize by an important German foundation. And you just read what Dr. Amartya Sen has said. You just read what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has said. That unless the poverty is removed, there will be nothing like fundamental rights of the citizens. How can we think of fundamental rights of citizens where 454 million people live below poverty line? And dear friend, do you know what is the index of the poverty line? The recognized by Raghavan committee is rupees 129 per day, and recognized by one of the law, this finance commission, was 26 rupees per day.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to our next question. It has been asked by a participant named Shrestha Mahendru.
Yes.
Sir, what can judiciary do to check the reservation bill? Please guide.
Kindly clarify the question. Which reservation bill?
It is talking about no reservation bill specific reference has been given. Only reservation bill has been. So we move on to our next question.
No. If you are talking of reservation in favor of the members of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe or backward classes, then the question, the person who is putting the question must know why we call them scheduled castes and why we call them scheduled tribes. When the Constituent Assembly was debating on the issue, those people were very wise, much wiser than us, and they knew about the social conditions prevalent in our country. The questionnaire must also know, the person asking the question must also know about the deaths of hundreds of people. I and you do not go to the sewer line for cleaning it. Those people go to sewer below the sewer line and get killed. A large number of people, the practice of carrying the filth and garbage on their head continued till recently. Those all people were economically most backward, and therefore they were one particular caste, list of caste was framed by the Constituent Assembly. One list of these backward communities was framed, and they were called scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Unfortunately, we treat them untouchables and are opposed to any reservation made in their favor. Just please, the person who is asking the question, if you are from Delhi, just have a round of Delhi in the morning at 6 o'clock. And you will find hundreds of people sleeping in the open. Why? They are your brethren, they are your sisters, they are your children. Why should they sleep in open? Why people should beg for food? Why those migrant workers? If you must have seen the scene of Gaya railway station, the dead body of his mother. Why this happens? And we just talk of reservation because it is not convenient to us. Yes, please. Next question, please. Hello.
Manindo, next question.
So next question.
Ghosh.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
please.
Sir, may I ask? Sir, there is a question. Does social media also create a negative
Madam?
mindset among people? Sir, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There is a question from our audience. Does social media also create a negative mindset among people? And judiciary somehow has a responsibility to clarify the doubts created in young minds by social media.
Yes, judiciary has a responsibility, great responsibility, but unfortunately they have not been able to do so in last 70 years. As a matter of fact, those who came to the judiciary, I have no doubt in confessing, belong to the category of haves in the society, right? A recent incident, nobody speaks in the social media. I do not know about the social media, but in electronic media, nobody speaks. A gentleman who was accused by an employee of the Supreme Court of molestation, right? The lady was dismissed from service. After the gentleman left the seat, the lady was reinstated. No reasons given. Nobody talks, nobody wants to know if she was guilty, why she was reinstated. And if she was not guilty and reinstated, then what about the gentleman? Gentleman is in parliament. Nobody questions them because we belong to the category of haves. And that is why we always feel agitated when legislature deal with the bills relating to reservation or some protection to the poor and economically downtrodden class. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Our next question from our audience is, when public sector is discouraged, do you think social justice is possible?
When public sector is discouraged, then social justice is impossible so far as India is concerned. The first mistake which I said, the first government did, I don't mind in naming the then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He was a great leader. He was educated in England. He did not know Bharat. He knew India. And therefore he thought that by building Bharat Heavy Electricals, Durgapur Steel Plant, Bhakra Nangal, Nagarjun Sagar, he will develop the country. But he never thought of development of the villages. If the villages had been made self-centered units of governance, perhaps we would not have faced the situation what we are facing today. Yes,
Thank you,
please.
sir. Yes, sir. Next question is from a student. Does print media used to cause same effect on judiciary as social media does?
No. No, not at all. And even social media doesn't affect us.
Yes. So one of our students has asked, Abhishek Singh. He has said, as you said, sir, so sir, you don't think that there is reservation should be given on the basis of financial condition, not as SC, ST or OBC?
The reservation must, our categorization of reservation in 1950 should have been the economics and nothing else. The India would have been divided into two classes, rich and poor. But all were Bharati, all were Hindustani, all are Indians. If we had educated the people in 1950, made 10 class education compulsory and then made it open for them to advance in their life, perhaps the scenario would have been altogether different.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Heading towards next question. In a case in Singapore, a convict was given capital punishment on Zoom. Can it done in India?
On what? On what?
On Zoom platform, sir.
I can't say today, but maybe if the situation continues like this and the courts continue to function on video, etc., ultimately the result may be that the judgments come on Zoom, and maybe I do not know about the death sentence because that's a debatable issue. But it is quite possible. But again, please do not compare Singapore with India. Singapore's population is less than 60 lakhs. Delhi's population is almost 2 crores.
Yes.
And India, of course, 138.7 crores today.
So another question is, what are your views in counter of rape accused in Hyderabad by police? Is social media support of the act going to influence the investigation in the matter?
You just kindly repeat the question because I could not hear it.
Sure, sir. What are your views in counter of rape accused in Hyderabad by police? Is social media support of the act going to influence the investigation in the matter?
Social media interference does influence investigation. There is no doubt about it. Because as I have already told you, 60% of our police force, first, the recruitment is by corruption. Recruitment is not on time. Recruitment is influenced by corruption. And those who come by corrupt means get influenced by all means. What you will be surprised to know, I will tell your viewers to feel surprised. I was dealing with that CBI matter. 80% of the positions were vacant in 2009. How could they handle? And they are definitely under pressure of working in social and electronic media would put pressure on them. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, what do you think, what laws can be brought forward to curb dominance of media in future?
There is no point in bringing a law to curb the media in future. Media will become more mature with the passage of time. I am sure, unfortunately, as on date, the media is more influenced by politics. The reason is very simple. Political parties get funds from the business houses and they pay to the media houses. You must be aware of the famous case of a British Secret Service agent. I am not naming them because I had dealt with that case. In that case, 800,000 pounds were paid by Saudi Arabia to at least 10 media channels to influence the judiciary by publishing a particular type of articles. But I'm sure with the passage of time, media is going to become more mature, more independent, and more incisive. What is most important is that if media takes up a particular case, then they should independently and in an unbiased manner pursue that case till the end. Do not leave in the midst, because the people's memory is very short. We watch the TV today, we forget tomorrow. Right now, we were worried about the 50 lakh people traveling on foot, including pregnant ladies. Within 1 month, we have forgotten all that.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, a student wants to know what is lacking in the judiciary that proper justice has not been given.
First is the appointment of the judicial officers. As I would like to make you aware that in the high courts at least 400 vacancies are there. In judiciary, there are 30% or 40% posts are vacant. If they are not filled, and not only filling up the post, not creation of the courts. You know, as I told you, from 2011, 7,500 and some crore rupees were allocated, of which actually 54% were released. And all of you will feel shocked that between 2014 to 2019, the government of India waived the loans of 7 lakh crores of industries. If that money had been pumped into the judiciary, perhaps we would have better infrastructure, ample manpower to deal with the cases. Unless we have manpower and infrastructure, Mere existence of judicial officer is not enough. They must have supporting staff. They must have all other equipments. They must have electronic equipments. Unless that happens, well, it will be mere illusion to say that justice will be quick.
Thank you, sir. Heading towards our last question. In most of the cases, judiciary, while awarding death penalty, usually highlight the point that for keeping faith of people in judiciary and to keep the peace in society, we are awarding this punishment. What is your opinion on that, sir?
Judiciary takes cognizance not only of the plea put forward by the accused, not only the freedom of the individual, but more importantly, judicially responsible towards the society as well. Nirbhaya case is one, of course, one aspect nobody has highlighted, and it is very difficult to say. You must have seen the migrant workers coming. You are from Delhi perhaps, or Gurgaon. You must have seen lakhs of people from Bihar, UP, West Bengal, Assam and Rajasthan coming, living in slums in Delhi. Slums like Dharvi, which is one talked about every day in Mumbai, every city has got a Dharavi, including Delhi. Now those people live in most unhygienic conditions, and they live here to earn something to send to their parents and their families in the remote areas of the state, UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Assam, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh. They live here for 10 years, 20 years without any family support. And what they learn from what we have media, with the great media of the day today, nothing except violence. And therefore the crimes go on increasing. And the present infrastructure of the judiciary, it's impossible to deal with these crimes. And we can't expect that the judiciary will be able to bring peace in the society.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have some more questions with me. Can I ask?
Yes,
Your
yes,
questions, sir?
sure.
Thank you, sir. Can we say the social media can be called the disruptive glue holding reporters and jurors?
No,
Journalists.
social media, there is one thing which is common to all nowadays. We want to be seen in the light. That is publicity. Politicians are known for it. Unfortunately, judges have also are tending to become more prone to publicity. And those who on social media, I do not talk about the language used in social media. Everybody wants to be popular. Everybody wants to be known by name, by writing on every subject, whether he has knowledge or not.
Thank you, sir. There's another question. What would have happened if everyone would have been the educated class and the whole labor class would have been replenished had it not been a drastic problem for our country? That is Bharat.
Not at all, not at all. If we are sorry to say, we are literate, we are not educated, we are not cultured. If we are really educated, we would contribute for the well-being of the society. And if we all contribute for the well-being of the society, then India will really become Bharat. When you grow, when the students grow, they should take a pledge. This is my always a suggestion. Plant one tree every year in your life. Educate one boy, one child who is not capable of supporting his education till he reaches 10th class, and you will change. In my lifetime, I will not see the change. But in your lifetime, definitely you will see a change Bharat, not India. हम लोग जब हिंदी में बात करते हैं तो मैं आपको एक बात मजाक की बताता हूँ. मैं चंडीगढ़ में था तो मैं चंडीगढ़ में भी लॉ स्कूल में लेक्चर देने जाता था. मेरे खुद के टीचर उस समय वो प्रोफेसर थे, डायरेक्टर थे वहां के, तो 100-200-300 स्टूडेंट्स के सामने मैंने लेक्चर दिया, तो मैंने 1.5 घंटे तक हिंदी में दिया और 1.5 घंटे इंग्लिश में दिया। 4 महीने बाद मुझे किसी काम से जलंधर जाना पड़ा, तो मेरे को एक मैगजीन LIC की थी, वो किसी ने लाकर दी थी। जब वो मैंने खोली तो उसमें मेरा नाम भी था। मैंने सरप्राइज किया कि मेरा नाम क्यों आया LIC की मैगजीन में। तो एक आर्टिकल मेरे ऊपर लिखा हुआ था कि जस्टिस सिंघवी ने आकर के ये लेक्चर दिया। जब वो हिंदी में बोले तो मैं समझा कि उनको इंग्लिश नहीं आती अच्छी तरह से, इसलिए वो हिंदी में बोल रहे हैं। अब ये तो हमारी माइंडसेट है कि अगर कोई आदमी हिंदी में बोलता है तो लोग ये समझते हैं कि नॉट वेल एजुकेटेड, इज नॉट वेल इन्फॉर्म्ड। ये ट्रेजेडी है इस देश की, क्योंकि सारा मीडिया जो आप और हम देखते हैं वो इंग्लिश मीडिया है, जो इन्फ्लुएंस करने की कोशिश करता है। दैट अनफॉर्चुनेटली टुडे इज ए पेड मीडिया, बिकॉज द पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज आर फंडेड without their funding is opaque. Nobody knows, because the law has been brought that it is closed, everything is closed, and that fund goes where you do not know.
Thank you, sir. Our next question is, socio-economic rights are more important or right to life under Constitution of India? As we are going towards complete unlock situation and cases are increasing at a rapid rate, what is your say regarding this, sir?
We should have restrictions. There is no point, because the disease, unfortunately, we have not been able to find a solution. There is no point in making it open. One thing younger generation must understand. our भारत जो है या हिंदुस्तान है या इंडिया है, उसमें कानून के प्रति रिस्पेक्ट हमारा पहला राइट है। आप एक ट्रैफिक रूल को देख लीजिए। मैं रोजाना जाता हूँ सुबह घूमने के लिए, ट्रैफिक लाइट पर मेरी गाड़ी मैं रोक लेता हूँ, जब तक ग्रीन नहीं होगी तब तक नहीं जाएंगी। 60% व्हीकल्स है वो वायोलेट करके जाती है। सीट बेल्ट लगाने की बात है तो 80% लोग उसको वायोलेट करते हैं। पुलिस किस पर एक्शन लेगी, किस पर फाइन लगाएगी? ये तो आप जो लोग पढ़े लिखे हैं उनको तो पता है लाल लाइट और हरी लाइट में कितना फर्क है, क्यों वायोलेट करते हैं। हमारी मानसिकता ऐसी हो गई है कि हम कानून की अवहेलना करें, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, मेरे पर फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए। सिर्फ यही हमारी ये सोसाइटी के प्रति क्या होता है, इसकी जिम्मेदारी हमारी नहीं है। Yes, please, madam. Next question.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Our next question is, sir, do you believe that social media is also influenced by powerful people in the society and thus very much successful in creating opinion as per their business? Sir, do you think freedom of press should be restricted? Yes.
No, freedom of press should not be restricted, but certainly social media should become more mature, more regulated, and do not express your views without knowing the subject. Unfortunately, the language used in social media is becoming very, very bad. Very, very bad. The people speaking bad language must know that it come back to them only. Nobody is affected by that.
Thank you, sir. Our next question is, why our country has two names, India and Bharat? When will we call Bharatiya instead of India, and how?
जब तक आप अपनी एक भाषा नहीं इस्तेमाल करेंगे तब तक आप इंडिया और भारत का डिस्टिंक्शन बना रहेगा, और ये डिस्टिंक्शन फॉलो करता है रिच एंड पुअर का। हमने अनफॉर्चुनेटली एजुकेटेड और अनएजुकेटेड का फर्क न करके रिच एंड पुअर का फर्क किया है। और जो आदमी के पास पैसा है वो समझता है कि आई कैन परचेज द लॉ, आई कैन परचेज द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, आई कैन परचेज द पॉलिटिक्स, एंड दिस इज अ फैक्ट। अनफॉर्चुनेटली they do influence. I cannot share with you because of the lack of time, but how the people go to the judiciary, bribe the judicial officer and the administration, as it happened in the Upar tragedy case. I mentioned about one employee who had tampered with the record, and do you know, after he was dismissed from service, next day he got job in one of the industrial establishments of Ansals. This is how it happens every day.
Sir,
Yes.
our next question is, sir, may I?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Do you think in today's age there should be a model of code
I'm not hearing your question. Please,
media and their usages?
please repeat the
Please
question.
repeat. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you think in today's age there should be a model code of conduct on judges related to social media and their usages?
Yes, I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. Judges should not come in the public at all. They must do their job. The judges and all members of the judiciary must understand. In fact, all must understand what Dr. Rajendra Prasad had said on 15th of August 1947 in his speech, which is written in Hindi, corrected and printed in the volume 5 of Framing of the Constitution by B. Shiva Rao. If the students of law have access to the library, they should go and find out the speech of Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He had said something very, very significant, that till today, during British regime, these people were treated as public servants. Now we should become servants of the people. If the idea of the servants of the people go down from politics to bureaucracy to judiciary, then there is nothing like power. We are all there. We are entrusted with certain duties under the Constitution, right from the President of India to the Prime Minister to the Chief Justice of India to the judges to PN. We are accountable to the people of India. We are only performing our duties and nothing else. There is nothing like power. But unfortunately, the idea of power has gone so deep in our minds that everybody thinks that I am exercising power. And in courts, particularly the contempt of courts, which is ridiculous. Anybody is entitled to criticize the judgments. Nothing wrong in it. Yes, please, Dr. Deeman.
Yes, sir. The next question is, one of the students has said, last year I saw in Delhi Judicial Services, out of 46 magisterial posts, 39 posts were for reserve. All this demotivate general category aspirants. What do you think about it?
Yes, it will demotivate, and you must, the person asking the question must go back to 50 years, read what used to happen. People belonging to the poor class, none would come. Please read the list of the judges of the Supreme Court and find out how many of them came from the poor class. In 70 years, if at least 200 people have come, or for example in the High Court about 2,000 or 3,000 people have come, how many of them have come from the poor class or the reserved category? Today it looks, yes, it will pinch to the modern generation, to the present generation, but we must realize that great injustice has been done to the poor and downtrodden. If they are sought to be brought back, because the demand from the preamble is justice, and the framers of the Constitution deliberately use the word social, and then economic, and then political, and then dignity of individual. Where is that dignity of individual? If younger generation is watching Mahabharata today, then Lord Sri Krishna says that if the lady who is adorning the seat of the Samragya could be dishonored, what will happen in future? What is happening today? Why crimes are committed against the female members of the poor and downtrodden classes. They are never reported in the media. Nirbhaya is only one. There are thousands of Nirbhaya being done every day in the country because they are poor. They do not have access to justice. They can't think of going to the people. Dear friend, I must inform you that out of the if 100 people suffer at the hands of the administration, 95% do not even think of going to the court or to the police. Yes, please.
Sir, our next question is, as we see now that no news channel is showing an unbiased news, channels started supporting parties. Some are pro-parties and some are highly against parties. And how common people will cope up with it? Care for your opinion, sir.
My opinion is that today the media, at least electronic media, if not print media, because for last few months I have not been reading the newspaper and not even watching the TV because it shows nothing except violence. And at this age, I do not want to see violence. Unfortunately, they are now paid by the political parties, and today they are purchasable commodity, and therefore they are reflecting the party's views. You have very conveniently found, don't you think that when this coronavirus is spreading like wildfire, then we suddenly now 3 days it is almost blackout because of the Chinese intrusion. And every news is replaced by Chinese intrusion.
Thank you, sir. So next question is, does social media also create a negative mindset among people, and judiciary is somehow has a responsibility to clarify the doubts created in young minds by social media?
Yes, judiciary, you are right. To large extent, the social media does create negativity. Negativity is unfortunately created by print as well as electronic media also. You will seldom find a good newspaper. Few years back, I was flying back from Paris to India in Bharat. I was reading New York Times because the rest of the newspapers were in French. In New York Times, I found not a single news item which related to crime. It was all relating to society. Today, if I pick up a newspaper in the morning, because I normally get up at 3:30 to 4 o'clock, if I was to pick up a newspaper, I will not find anything else except either the fight between the political parties or rape, murder, etc., etc. Therefore, it is definitely creating negative mindset. Those who go on Twitter, etc., these Twitter, I do not know all the names of the social media. If they go there, they are nothing except negativity. Saying something right or wrong against others. That's all. Recently, you must have read one film called Patal Lok, which is produced by a company from Anushka Sharma. And a gentleman has the audacity to suggest Virat Kohli, her husband, that he should divorce Anushka Sharma because she has made such a film. We have seen intolerance in our country today. This Padmavati became Padmavat. So negativity is spreading every day. My advice to the young minds would be, don't go by that, please. Stop reading this social media, Twitter, etc. You will save your time, you will save your energy, and you will be able to devote yourself more to study the constitutional law, study more the philosophy, study more about the sociology, and make endeavor to improve the society, make your contribution to the society. That is your lifetime achievement. If the media is not going to help you.
Sir, may I ask the next question?
Please.
Thank you, sir.
Don't wait for my nod. You are free to ask as many questions as possible.
Thank you, sir. Has credibility of mainstream media has diminished in the age of social media?
Yes, yes, I would say credibility of all institution has diminished. Youngsters must not have seen the scene in the UP assembly when gentleman called K. Srinath Tripathi was the speaker. Then members of the honorable, I would use the word honorable members of the legislative assembly took out the chairs, uprooted the chairs which were embedded in the earth, threw them at each other. Mics, of course, is a very small instrument which they break and throw at others in the assemblies. What we see today is the most unruly behavior by those who we elect as our representatives. As I told you in the beginning, 43% members of the day are facing criminal charges. If we have the highest legislature with members having so many criminal cases against them, what do you expect from them? If you want to follow their leadership, it is your choice.
Yes. So, there is a question. The
Yes.
reservation bill enacted during 1947 was temporary and was according to that situation. Why it still has not been amended according to the needs of citizens? Now, can it not be done on the basis of party line or financial basis?
It was 10 years was the reservation initially when the constitution was brought into force. Then for purely political reasons, nothing like economics. Don't talk of economics, please, because otherwise the people would have become better if we had really implemented the reservation bill. You will be surprised, younger generation would be surprised. In 1972, I was dealing with the case as a lawyer. Then Collector Jaipur happened to be belonging to a reserve category. And it came to our notice that 24 members of the same family had taken benefit of the reservation. So benefit of reservation has actually gone to few families or a very small percentage of people. But for political reasons, purely political reasons, every political party, and sorry to say, no political party has the courage to dispense with reservation based on caste, color, and creed. Dear friends, you must read the part 3 of the Constitution. Judges, parliamentarians, ministers take oath to preserve the Constitution. Judges take oath to administer law without fear and favor. But 90% of all of us violate that oath. I do not know, someday somebody will file a petition that they should be removed from their positions because they violate the constitutional oath. So reservation in your lifetime, I hope that it is dispensed with, at least the criteria is changed. But do not see in near future any change in the criteria of reservation from caste to economics.
So next question is, what is your opinion about protests against racism are happening in USA? And are we somehow a victim of discrimination when it comes to Muslims?
Not in abstract, I would answer. In US, that's a different society altogether, but people are more vigilant. And the racial discrimination is perhaps an integral part of that society. They have been discriminating for last 100 years or 200 years. Yes, we too are biased against the Muslim community, who unfortunately are economically and otherwise downtrodden for one reason: lack of education, lack of literacy. You find among them, we had Dr. Abdul Kalam among them, we had our Vice President among them, we had hundreds of them who have received education, benefit of education, and have progressed in the life. Those who did not get the opportunity, influenced, unfortunately, they blindfolded follow the so-called religion without understanding what religion is, because no religion teaches anything else except humanity, service to the humanity. But these leaders of the so-called religious leaders, whether they are Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, or Christians, etc., in order to keep their hold on the population, illiterate population, uninformed population, they mislead them. And we continue, of course, under our constitution, article 15, 16, 14 also, no discrimination on the ground of caste, color, creed, race, religion, sex, place of birth and residence. But every day we find this discrimination. And therefore we too tend to think that they are a different class. Just imagine one thing. If they were literate people, if they were educated, they would not have lived in slums. They would not have lived in colony where coronavirus has become violently spreading every day. Because they do not understand how to live in a hygienic condition. And we think, no, they are spreading. That mindset, at least the literate class or educated class of yours must not have that belief. Yes, please.
Can we move towards next question? Yeah.
Please.
Sir, it is because of social media, voices of many unheard got attention, like Me Too movement, LGBT movement. How can we not acknowledge the good role the social media has played in such movement and look at it only in a negative way?
No, not all negative. I have never said that it is all negative. Media has played important role in building the Indian society. I have already described it as fourth pillar of the democracy. Democracy is so far, it's not a mature democracy, but nevertheless both print, electronic and now social media is playing an important role in strengthening the democracy. Negativity will always be there. Negativity is among the elected representatives. Negative thinking against the downtrodden has been within the judiciary also. The cases of people who are in prison are not heard for 10 years, 12 years, 14 years. Recently, my nephew, who is a judge in Rajasthan High Court, about a month and a half back decided a case of murder. Person was accused of murder and convicted. He ultimately found that there was no evidence. So he acquitted the person. That person had lived in prison for 11 years. How to compensate him? But media has played a positive role and it should continue to play a positive role in forcing not the judiciary alone, forcing the administration to give more funds, not only sanction, spend it, create more infrastructure, create more manpower, ensure that cases like rape are disposed of finally up to the Supreme Court within 1 year. The law will become, respect for law will increase only if the people fear that those who violate the law will be booked and brought before justice. For that, lot of reforms are required to be done, and media must play an important positive role in that direction. Others will not. Others have unfortunately failed. We let them for the purpose of ensuring justice to the people. But I do not see last 70 years happening. I hope during your lifetime it happens. And the students of law must become more vigilant. Don't read the Constitution alone. Read how the Constitution was framed. Those 5 volumes by B. Shiva Rao will teach you how the Constitution was framed. See the debate of on Rajya Sabha TV every year there is 2 days or 3 days devoted how the constitution was framed. 6-7 hours debates, how each issue was discussed in Parliament, the Constituent Assembly, and then the drafting committee. That will really educate you. And law alone will not make you good human beings. Your attitude must change. We must devote our life for serving the society. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. The next question is, what do you think on the way Supreme Court has reacted on the writ petition filed on plight of migrant workers and does not allow urgent hearing to it?
Unfortunate. That's the only word which I can use. And I do not have any regret in confessing that the modern today the judiciary has failed the nation. High courts have done better. High courts have done better by entertaining the petitions and giving directions. If we can't provide food, shame on us. Shame on our entire country that we 54 million people go hungry every day. They are not assured of meals twice a day. What type of country we have? What type of democracy we have? We all feel ashamed. You think of contributing 1 rupee. Think of a situation where 20 crore family contribute 100 rupees per month. 20 crore families contribute 100 rupees per month, not necessarily in Prime Minister Relief Fund, not necessarily in CSR or for taking tax benefit. Contribute 100 rupees per month. How many thousand crores? 2,000 crores. And do you know, let your students be informed. We have an organization called Akshay Patra. Who is running that, do you know? Mr. Mohandas Pai. I do not donate. I merely contribute from my side, whatever possible. But when I read about this, then I asked a question. I sent a letter to them that asked your Mohandas Pai to spare 1,000 crores of rupees for feeding the children of migrant workers. And then they stopped asking me. Yes, next please.
Sir, here's the last question for the session. Media is called fourth pillar of democracy.
Madam, I'm not bothered about questions. Don't bother about the time.
Media
Yes.
is called fourth pillar of democracy. Does this principle holds good on today's social media?
Not to that extent. Social media is yet to mature. Not to that extent. But media is definitely plays a very, very important role in ensuring the fulfillment of the goals set out in the Constitution. If today media had not been there, the situation would have been worse. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us. Now, I would like to...
I'm surprised the questions are over.
So you're having this
You
much...
can ask from your side. Dr. Dhiman, you can ask from your side.
Okay,
One
sir.
from you. You are the leader.
In many... Sure, sir. In many cases, courts have been witnessed to take cognizance of a case on the basis of a media report, sir. What do you want to say about it?
Pardon, please repeat the question.
Sir, in many cases, court has been witnessed to take suo motu cognizance of a case on the basis of media report, merely a media report. Has advent of social media somehow diluted the earlier credibility of media?
No, social media, they do not take cognizance of social media so far. So far, it has not happened. But print media, they have taken cognizance and issued directions in several cases, right from 1971 onwards. In fact, your students should become aware first public interest litigation was entertained not by the Supreme Court, but by the then Punjab High Court in 1964. Way back in 1964, they had issued directions. Of course, that was not a media, that was media plus someone else. And interestingly, how the courts have protected environment and ecology. One illustration I can give to your students, sitting in the court in 1998, we had a case before us where a piece of land where 5,000 trees and saplings were there, that was meant for development of trees only. The interested quarters, the bureaucracy and the business people colluded, converted that into an industrial complex, and the plots were allotted from them. Then in fact, the matter went to the Prime Minister of the country, Rajiv Gandhi. He said, no, this can't be done, it will destroy the environment. So somebody filed a petition in the High Court, some beneficiary of that allotment. Initially, the single judge dismissed, but a gentleman judge of the division bench entertained. The matter came after a gap of 8 years. When we got an investigation done, it was media basically. When we got an investigation done through Chief Conservator General of India, he reported that as on date there are 55,000 trees. And once we found that there are 55,000 trees, there is no question of cutting them. And luckily, that's all God's grace that that area has become a forest. So media plays a role.
Thank you, sir. So there is anxiety among people about Supreme Court collegium regarding transfer and appointment of judges. What is your comment on this?
I must confess without any hesitation that I have been in the collegium of the High Court of Punjab and Haryana for almost 6 years. Then as Chief Justice of Andhra Pradesh, I was myself heading the collegium for 2 years. We had only one thing in mind, the interest of the institution. And we selected people, the best people available out of the available lot, who were expert in the particular field for, say, tax, for, say, service matters, say, for constitution matters, say, for environment matters. We chose them without any bias, without anything, neither Haryana nor Punjab, anything else, nor any community, nor any caste. We selected, luckily, those, most of them, 99% of them proved to be of their worth. In Andhra Pradesh, I have no hesitation to share that in our first meeting, we superseded 5 judicial officers, one of whom was a favorite of a sitting Supreme Court judge. And then came pressure, of course, from the law ministry that please reconsider. We said, sorry, once we have taken a decision, but that I can't say about the Supreme Court of the day. I'm sorry, I am not privy to discussions which take place today. They are wise people, they must be taking their decision. But I am firmly of the view that while selecting a class 3 employee, a judicial officer, a judge at the level of the district judge, or a judge of the High Court or the Supreme Court, the pure consideration should be people, the merit of the men. No other consideration should prevail. If that prevails, then the recommendations are tainted. I can share with your students that while in Andhra Pradesh again it happened, some gentlemen from the Supreme Court sent a recommendation for 3 candidates. We put their names in the list. When my colleagues in the collegium asked me, Chief, why have you put these asterisk marks against these 3 names? I only replied that they have come on recommendation. They asked next question, what do you want? What would you do? And I go, those who come on recommendation will accept recommendation. So reject it. In judiciary, there is no place of any recommendation of any sort. If there is a single taint of any type, the man must be thrown out. That is the only way in which how we can ensure independence of the judiciary, and ensure its credibility in the eyes of the public. If this credibility is lost, then I remember the saying of an old politician, at least 40 years, 45 years ago, he told me, I was a lawyer at that time, he told me, he used to call me my son, his son. He said, कि बेटा, अगर जुडिशरी में करप्शन हो गया, उसमें सिफारिश हो गई, एजुकेशन में हो गई, तो समझ लो कि इस देश में से डेमोक्रेसी खत्म हो जाएगी. And this I remember today also. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, our next question.
Yes, yes.
Our next question is, the legislators in India are not required to be educated, even according to the constitution. Do you think, sir, that this one is one of the factors for present day situation?
Yes, you're right, absolutely right. There must be some minimum qualification for those who apply for contesting elections, right from panchayat to parliament. In panchayat we have, and that amendment in the constitution has been upheld by the Supreme Court, by a constitutional bench. Unfortunately, we do not have similar provision in the legislative assembly or the parliament. Obviously, no political party which is trying to contest the election want that there should be a qualification for the candidates, because it doesn't suit them. Your young students must not be knowing that in first two parliaments, we had 80% lawyers as members of parliament. At least law graduates were there. Then the number dwindled. Number dwindled because people who had used purse in their pocket, they got elected to, they came through parties, political parties, and through Rajya Sabha also. You have to see the names of the persons coming to the Rajya Sabha. Then the farmers who became rich, big farmers, their lobby became strong and they started coming to parliament. Today we see a lot of them. Then the politicians thought that if the farmers are coming, how would those who are non-farmers, how would we get elected? They started taking support of muscle men and for getting elected. Then after 5-7 years, muscle men thought that if we are supporting politicians, why should we ourselves not contest the election? And that is how criminals got entry in the legislatures and parliament. So qualification, absolutely imperative need of the day if we have to have a strong democratic institution in the country.
Yes, sir. Sir, please guide how court can be approached to recheck or put instruction or change using guidelines of reservation in civil services and departments, because today's scenario is different from past time and undue advantage of reservation is being used. How Supreme Court can deal with it? If not suo motu, then how?
Supreme Court is already seized with the matter right now. They are debating the question. Therefore, it would be inappropriate for me to express any opinion on a public platform, because otherwise people can accuse me of trying to influence the pending matters. I avoid making any comment on matters which are pending, because as a judge, I never like that anybody should comment on pending matters. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Sir, social media is the fourth pillar of democracy, as
Not
correctly said.
Not social media, media as such.
Media, yes, sir. It has been taken as it. But this freedom of speech and expression should have reasonable restrictions, whereas today's media is not following the system of structure. What is your guidance to?
Yes, you are right. They do not exercise restraint. A reasonable restriction from outside is perhaps in the present form of social media is very extremely difficult, and there is no point in restricting the use of social media for expressing their views, as recently Trump has done in US. There is no point, because if the people criticize the modern government, as unfortunately we see today, if somebody expresses views, FIR is filed against him. That will be strangulating the at least one section of media. There is no point. If somebody is not comfortable with you, accept it. The public representative must always be prepared to accept criticism from the public, because they represent the public. But we are passing through a phase where intolerance is increasing day by day, whether it is in physical sense or whether it is in the sense of language. Intolerance is increasing day by day, which is just contrary to our own ethics and culture. It's not Bharatiya culture or Hindustani culture or Indian culture also. But we are becoming intolerant nowadays. And that is why doctors are benefited by that. Psychiatrists in particular.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a vibrant session. And sir, we have no more questions from attendees. And I'm really thankful to you.
I can suggest you one thing. Students, many students are apprehensive of asking questions. Where you can make them very comfortable. Tell them if they have questions, they can give it to you. You can send it on my mail. I will try my best, whatever my limited resources are there or knowledge is there, I would try to give their answers.
Definitely, sir. Sure. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to invite our Honorable Director, sir, Professor Dr. B.S. Hoti, to extend vote of thanks to our esteemed guest.
I told Dr. Hoti that there is no need for vote of thanks. I have been enlightened by the questions put by the students and grateful to Dr. Hoti for having given me this opportunity to be in your institution.
Thank you so much, sir. I extend my gratitude and thanks to our honorable speaker, Justice G.S. Singhvi, who made this webinar significant and remarkable by enlightening all participants with his expertise. With the increase of social media, in the present time, every individual has been given voice, which has its positive as well as negative effects. I am sure that this webinar session is going to help all the participants to understand the increasing influence of media on judiciary. I extend my thanks to all the participants for being part of this webinar. I also extend my thanks to faculty members, students, and coordinators to make this event a real success. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
sir.
Dr. Diman.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We look forward to see you at our next session on 23rd June 2020 at 11 a.m.
Thank
Where
you.
Honorable Justice Swatantra Kumar, thank you, sir. Honorable Justice Swatantra Kumar, former Judge Supreme Court of India, former Chairperson, National Green Tribunal, will be interacting with our participants on the topic Pandemic and Constitutional Challenges.